Hello and welcome. Welcome to the public living room, the place where we bring the conversations you usually only have at 2 a.m. or in a car with someone you trust completely, and we put them somewhere everyone can hear. I'm your host, Sophia, and today we are starting with a question I have been sitting with for years. Not because I don't have an answer, but because I'm not sure my answer is right. The question is this: is it better to be with someone who loves you more than you love them, or to be with someone you love more than they love you? Simple words, enormous weight. And to explore it, I've invited someone who I genuinely disagree with. My friend, my sparring partner, someone whose heart I trust even when I think her logic is completely wrong. Diana, welcome.
Sophia, completely wrong? You couldn't ease me in gently on the first episode?
This is the public living room. We don't do gentle, we do honest. But I love you.
And I love you more, which, given today's topic, feels very on brand.
So, before we get into our corners, let's actually name what we're really asking, because I think people hear this question and immediately think it's about ego, like who has the upper hand, who has the power.
Right. Who has the power?
And I want to dismantle that frame before we build anything in it.
Agreed. I think the question is really about where you live emotionally in a relationship. Are you the one reaching or the one being reached for? And neither of those is comfortable, by the way. One is anxiety, the other can become guilt. Say more about that, because I think that's the part people don't admit. Okay, so when you love someone more than they love you, there's this longing. You're always slightly hungry. You notice the moments they don't reach back. You read into pauses. That's the anxiety.
Right.
But, and this is the part I genuinely believe, that hunger, it keeps you awake. It keeps the relationship alive in you. You're always choosing them, consciously. It never goes to sleep.
See, and that's exactly where I want to push back. But I want to hear you finish the other side first. What's the guilt you mentioned? The guilt of being loved more?
When someone loves you more than you love them, you can feel it. Maybe not immediately, but you do feel it. And there's this low hum of, I should feel more than I do. Or am I shortchanging them? Am I being cruel by staying? Am I being cruel by leaving? It's a different kind of discomfort. It doesn't ache the way unrequited love aches, but it weighs.
And this is where we actually split, because I hear all of that, I do, but I come down firmly on I would rather carry the weight than the hunger every single time. Let me make my argument properly. And I want to be clear, I am not talking about settling. I am not saying go find someone boring and safe and just endure it.
Okay.
I'm saying when there is genuine connection, genuine compatibility, genuine respect, and one person loves the other a little intensely more, I think the one who is loved more is actually in a position of profound opportunity, if they're wise enough to see it. Opportunity. That's an interesting word. Opportunity for what? To foster safety, for the kind of love that actually lets you become yourself. Think about it. When you're the one loving more, you are in a constant low-grade performance. You're managing their impression of you.
Right.
You're afraid that if they see too much of the unpolished version, the gap will widen. But when you're loved more, you can breathe. You can be difficult. You can have a bad week without it feeling like the relationship is on trial. That is not a small thing. That is the whole thing.
Okay, I hear you, but Sophia, are you describing love or are you describing a good therapist?
That is a cheap shot, and I love it.
I'm serious though. What you're describing, safety, being seen, freedom to be imperfect, I want all of that, but I want it to come from love, not from being the less invested party. Because if the safety you feel comes from knowing they love you more, doesn't that mean your security is built on their vulnerability? You are calm because they are more exposed. That's not a foundation, Sophia. That's a hierarchy.
I hear that. And I want to sit with it because it's genuinely uncomfortable. But I don't think asymmetry in love automatically means hierarchy. Every relationship has asymmetry somewhere. Someone is more patient. Someone is more ambitious. Someone forgives faster. Someone worries more. Yeah, of course. We don't call those hierarchies. We call those differences. Why is the intensity of love the one dimension where we demand perfect equality? Because love is the thing they signed up for. It's not a side attribute. It's the whole point. And my argument is that love grows, that someone who is slightly more loved can, over time, feel more if they're open to it, if they're not running from it. I've seen it. Love is not a fixed state. It's a direction.
All right, my turn. And I want to start by saying I respect your position, Sophia. It's not wrong. But I think it describes a version of love that is beautiful, but incomplete.
Okay?
Because you keep using the word safety, and I want to challenge whether safety is actually what love is supposed to feel like.
Go ahead. I'm listening.
I think we have romanticized. No, we have medicalized love. We've turned it into a therapeutic exercise. Find someone who is safe. Find someone who doesn't trigger your attachment wounds. Find someone who makes you feel regulated. And that's all important. I'm not dismissing it. But there's something that happens when you love someone fiercely, when they are genuinely, deeply in your chest, that no amount of safety replicates. You know it when it happens, and it doesn't feel like safety. It feels like electricity.
And what does that electricity cost you?
Sometimes a lot. I won't pretend it doesn't. But I think the cost is worth naming honestly instead of trying to design it away. When I love someone more, yes, I'm more exposed. Yes, I'm more afraid, but I'm also more alive in that relationship.
Yeah.
I'm paying attention. I'm grateful for the moments I get. I notice their laughter. I remember what they said 2 weeks ago. There's an attention that comes with wanting someone that I think is actually beautiful. It's not just anxiety, it's devotion.
I'm not going to lie, that landed somewhere in me, the attention piece. Because I think you're right that there's a kind of attentiveness that comes with longing that can be extraordinary. But Diana, when does devotion become diminishment? When do you stop being attentive and start being small? When does loving more make you love yourself less?
That's the line, and it's real. I just think the line is further out than people think. We've been so burned by bad relationships, and I include myself in this, that we've started treating vulnerability itself as dangerous.
Right.
As if needing someone is pathology, and I refuse to accept that. Needing someone can be an act of courage.
But there's a difference between needing someone and needing them more than they need you. Those are two very different vulnerabilities.
Yes, and the second one is harder. I'm not saying it isn't. I'm saying it can still be worth it.
Can I get personal for a second? I want to tell you something I've never actually said out loud in a space like this, because I think it's the real reason I believe what I believe. Please, this is exactly the space for it. I have been, in my life, the one who loves more than once. And I became a version of myself in those relationships that I didn't recognize. Not because the person was bad, they weren't. But because when you love someone more than they love you, you start editing yourself constantly. You think, if I say this, will it be too much? If I need this, will they pull back? You shrink, not dramatically, not all at once. You shrink in increments, so small you don't notice until one day you look in the mirror and you have no idea who's looking back. And I swore I would never live there again.
Sophia.
And I don't say this as a wound, I say it as a finding. What I discovered is that the relationship where someone loved me more steadily, more consistently than my feelings for them initially were, that relationship was the one where I finally stopped performing. I became more generous, more present, more interested in them, not because I was afraid to lose them, but because I felt free enough to actually see them, and my feelings grew. Genuinely, not because I forced it, because safety opened a door.
I believe you, and I respect that deeply. Can I offer the mirror of that story?
Breeze.
I have also been the one who loved more. And yes, some of it hurt exactly the way you described. The editing, the wondering, the hunger, all of it real.
Right.
But there was one, just one, where loving more was the most alive I have ever felt in my body. Not because it was perfect, but because it made me brave. I did things in that relationship I never would have done otherwise. I said things I'd never said. I showed up for someone in ways that surprised even me. Loving him more made me more of myself, not less. And I think the difference wasn't the imbalance. The difference was whether I trusted myself to love without needing their level of feeling to be the permission slip for my own peace.
Diana, I think you just said something important. Can you say that again?
The difference isn't the imbalance. The difference is whether you can love someone without needing their level of feeling to be the permission slip for your own peace. Because if you can do that, if you can love more without losing yourself, then maybe the question we started with is the wrong question entirely. Now you're starting to sound like me.
Don't push it. Okay, we've been going at this for a while, and I want to do something I don't think enough podcasts do. I want to find where we actually meet. Not to wrap it up nicely, but because I think the intersection is where the real truth lives.
Let's do it. I'll go first. I think we both agree that the question of who loves more only becomes dangerous, only becomes corrosive when it's used as leverage, when one person holds their love over the other.
Yes.
Yes, absolutely. And I'd add to that, I think we both believe that love is a practice, not a feeling. The feeling comes and goes in both directions for both people on different days.
Right.
The practice is what you build on top of the feeling. And you can have unequal feelings and an equal practice. That's the thing I don't think most people understand. You can both be fully showing up, fully committed to the practice while feeling different intensities. That's not a broken relationship. That might actually be a mature one.
And here's where I think we most agree. And this is the thing I wish someone had told me when I was younger and confused and crying over people who couldn't love me the way I loved them. The real question isn't who loves more. The real question is whether you are loved in the way you need to be loved. Not more, not equally, in the right language, in the right way for your particular heart. That right there. Because I've been in relationships where someone loved me deeply, genuinely, intensely, but not in a way I could receive. The love was real. The miss was real. And I've been in relationships where maybe the intensity wasn't equal, but the attunement was extraordinary. They saw me. They responded to me. They adjusted. And that fed something that pure intensity never could.
Attunement. I love that word for this. You can love someone with everything you have and still be completely out of tune with them. And you can love someone a little less loudly and be perfectly calibrated to what they need. We've been arguing about volume when maybe what matters is frequency.
We've been arguing about volume when what matters is frequency. Diana, can I put that on a wall somewhere?
Only if you credit me. We are almost at time, and I want to close, not with an answer, because I don't think there is one clean answer, but with a question for you listening to this. Maybe in your car, maybe on a walk, maybe lying in bed next to someone, or wishing someone was there.
In the relationship you're in, or the one you're thinking about, which position are you in? And is it working for you? Not because you have the upper hand or the lower hand, but because you are genuinely, deeply, sustainably okay.
Because I think that's the metric that gets lost. Not do they love me enough? Not do I love them enough? But am I okay in this? Am I growing in this? Am I still myself in this? Can I see myself clearly? Or has loving this person too much or too little started to blur the edges of who I am?
And maybe Maybe the most hopeful thing we can say is this: love can shift. It has shifted for both of us in our lives. The person you love a little less today, you might love more completely in a year if you stay open. And the person who loves you more today, they might need you to grow into loving them. Love is not a photograph, it's a film. It's always moving. Diana, thank you.
For disagreeing with me in the exact right way.
Thank you for making space for disagreement in the first place. That's rare. And it's kind of what love is supposed to be too.
That's the Public Living Room, everyone. Episode 1. We are just getting started. And I mean that. We are going to go to places in this show that other people won't go. We're going to sit with the hard questions until they give up their answers. Come back, bring your people. And if something in this conversation touched something in you, tell someone. That's what living rooms are for. We'll see you next time. See you next time.